Welcome to our Star Racing Tournament for November. We are going to be seeing some excellent races here today. There is the Highspeed class where we will be seeing Deferred Link, that nice long track where we're going to be watching our ships. Our racers take place over this longer path. We're going to be seeing our M50s, 350Rs from Origin. We're going to be seeing the P72 and the Razor Base class. The prizes for this high-speed class are a $30 gift card for first place. Second, we'll be walking away with a $25 gift card, and then third, a $20 gift card. So, again, thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you to those who are willing to come in and help us out. It actually ends up being here, but for now, we do have in our high-speed class, we are going to be seeing at least Crimson Freak. We are going to be seeing Cats 740, Evermore Celt, and Rudnev are going to be facing off in this situation, and it looks like they are ready to go. And you know what? I am ready to go. How about everybody out there in Chatland? Are you all ready to go and watch this new fantastic race on Deferred Link? Because you've got to be ready to craft to this type of tournament. Looking forward to seeing a lot from them in the future. And here we go. The race has started. All of these M50s are taking off, and it looks like we have only M50s facing off in this match. So not a whole lot of variation of the different types of ships we'll see, but we do definitely have them taking off into those first hairpin turns. This is one of the most challenging parts of this map, because not only do you need to control your speed effectively enough to slow down and take those turns effectively, you also just gotta make sure that you don't crash into those buildings, because they are directly in between along every path that you want to take to go through those hoops. So gotta make sure to be super careful traveling through those. And it looks like we do have Evermore Celt here taking a little bit of a careful route through there, making sure to not drift too much, which is an absolutely effective strategy. Sometimes when you start taking things a little bit too fast, it is easy to spin out and crash into buildings. Definitely not something that you want to be happening on a regular basis. Here's Cat 740, and it looks like they may be approaching the beginning or leader location. So let's take a look down here at both screens. I'll ask Sigelian if they would be able to pop that the scoreboard up there for a little bit, just so we can see what the placements are as we come around to the general direction of the end of this first lap of the Deferred Link. Each lap should take, usually takes a little bit under 2 minutes, and thank you very much for that, Sigelian. We do have Rudnev out in front with Cat 740 just behind them, Crimson Freak and Evermore Celt in 4th position, but all of them are quite close together. They are almost all traveling up that tall, spindly tower there, and it looks like Rudnev might even be coming through towards the start line right now, and Rudnev is going to be passing through. There we go. We have Rudnev through into their second lap. Cat's just behind them, maybe 3 or so seconds behind. And let's take a look up here at the view of Crimson Freak, who is just coming into the home stretch of that first lap. I'm going to be heading through that start line in just a couple of seconds here. So with a time of 2 minutes and 22 seconds, they are making good time here. Evermore Celt still making it through in 4th position, and is attempting to catch up to the leaders. And here we go, we have Evermore Celt right there coming through, and now this is their point where they're going to finish off that first lap at 2 minutes 40 seconds. So there is a fair gap there, and here we have the overhead view. You have in front there Rudnev just coming around this angle and up towards the top of your screen, that little red triangle. This second red triangle is going to be Cat 740, making a good second place and really vying to try to get into that position right next to or in front of Rudnev. Here we do have Cat 740 drifting sideways through that one, just controlling their turn really quite effectively here, navigating over and under buildings, trying to do what they can, I believe, to catch up to the leader Rudnev. Let's see, is this Rudnev that we're watching right now? It is indeed Rudnev, and there you go. You can even see Cats just behind them. trying to make some time up on this, but Rednev is a challenging leader to try to overtake. Rednev seems to come out of nowhere a few races ago and has really kind of taken off with their skill and ability on the racetrack. Here we have both Rednev and then followed by Cats coming through towards the start line. There's Rednev coming through at improving their time to 1 minute 57 seconds. Cats improving their time quite a bit to 1 minute and 56 seconds. That's almost an entire 10 seconds that was removed from their time from the previous lap. Crimson Freak still in 3rd place and M.E.R.C still following up in 4th place. And let's pop down here again to take a look at the Cats' view after they are done those narrow turns, and it looks like they are trying to make up, and they are actually somewhat effectively making up some time on Rednev there. Rednev looks to have taken those turns just a little bit wide, and Cats attempting to make good on that opportunity. M.E.R.C running into a little bit of a problem there, clipping their wing and going into a bit of a spin, but controlling it very effectively, getting right back on track. There is Crimson Freak with the end of their 2nd lap coming through into the 3rd one. Let's take a look and see if we can get those scores up on the board again to just take a look at the placements to see if Rednev and Cats have changed positions at all. For now, we'll take a look here at Rednev's view, coming through those corners and really controlling quite effectively. And yes, still Rednev is in 1st place, Cats in 2nd, just behind them Crimson Freak, and then M.E.R.C taking up 3rd and 4th positions. And here we go, Cats is still just behind Rednev, trying to push out in front of them, and this is such a close battle. Really just got to push their ship to the limit here to try to catch up to Rednev in front of them, but will Rednev falter? Will they let Cats take any opportunity to catch up? It looks like things are going. This is a very heavy cat and mouse chase that we have going on between these two racers here, but will it be enough for Cats to catch up? It's starting to look like Rednev is pulling out into this home stretch, and here they do come through the finish line in 1st place. Congratulations to Rednev with the 1st place finish here. Cats coming through. There is their finish in 2nd place. And it looks like they did push their ship a little bit hard there and just clipped the edge in the effort to catch up, but it was not enough, and they have finished in 2nd position. Here we do have M.E.R.C cutting very, very close to that building on the side. They overtook Crimson Freak, so now Crimson Freak is pushing for that 4th position, or for that 3rd position rather, and we do have them coming through towards the end of this race. Let's see what view we have from our camera operator Sigalian here. Watching this beautiful long-range view of them as they spiral up that large tower in the middle distance. And it looks like we may have had a bit of an impact from Crimson Freak, or, not Crimson Freak, a little bit of an impact against a building from our other racer here. And we are still descending slowly to just above the start line there. And it looks like they are coming down south out of that tall tower, and this is actually quite a close race. We do have right now 8 seconds to get finished. Are they going to be able to make it through to the end of this path? And it looks like, yes, just at the last second, we did have Crimson Freak overtake M.E.R.C once again to finish in 3rd place. M.E.R.C in 4th place with just a second, less than a second behind Crimson Freak. Unfortunately, that overtake did happen just right there at the end for them, but well done to Crimson Freak, really pushing themselves to the limit at the end of that race to try to get through in time to finish on the podium. So they will be moving on to the finals, and next we are going to be seeing what we are going to have for our next racers coming up. And it looks like we do have the race starting. Let's view this from the viewpoint of Cyrez as that start line does turn green and they take off and are currently in 1st place through that 1st turn, taking it very carefully, and it looks like VG Vert did possibly immediately explode, or at least somebody had some sort of minor impact there. Looks like we may have lost connection to Sigelian, so let's just refresh their stream there so that we can see that again. But here we do have Cyrez Cyrez's view, looks like they are currently in first place, coming through in the first lap and really cutting it very, very close to so many buildings. This is a skilled racer, absolutely. One who we have seen before on these tracks. And let's pop back out to the VG-Vert view from just in space-time, watching them come around that long turn, and oof, unfortunately just pulling a little bit close on that ring and crashing directly into it. Here again we have Sigelian with our overhead view, looking at the racers. Looks like Cyrez does have quite a lead on the pack here. Maybe about 5 or so seconds ahead of the next contender, and then we do have a race for third and fourth place, which looks like it might actually be trading back and forth just a little bit back there. But here we have Cyrez flying directly into the sun, and that's another thing you got to be careful with. We have done some test races in the verse, and what we've discovered is that that sun can super harm your ability to fly safely, because it turns everything in front of you into a giant white sheet, and buildings or other obstacles can appear out of absolutely nowhere. Then we do have Cyrez coming around, and it looks like we've had Legim with some collision problems. Maybe they are the one who had that incident at the beginning of the race. But let's take a look over here at Sigelian's view of above the start line with Cyrez coming through. Cyrez is going to be finishing their first lap in 1 minute 55 seconds, under 2 minutes. Ninjetti bringing up second place with 2 minutes exactly, plus 67 milliseconds I suppose. VG-Vert, even with that collision causing them some lost time, they're at 2:05, and then we do have Legim coming through in fourth place. Let's take a look back at our leader, Cyrez, who is still up there and still has quite the lead over their competitors. We're going to be seeing them come up and through this checkpoint number 9 as they come into the second third of the path. Curly SC giving a shout out to Cyrez, cheering for you in the audience. I don't know if you can hear us, but you do have some fans out there who are hoping the best for you. Let's take a look back over at Justin Spacetime's view, and we are looking at VG-Vert, who is still in third position, I believe, but definitely making some good time up there. You can see just in front of them they do have Ninjetti floating ahead of them, kind of zipping back and forth across the front of their screen. They're definitely tasting that second place position and trying to make up some time to get into it. Cyrez, let's pop back over to your view, and you are starting to head up into that tall spiraling spire. These are the buildings I was saying can be deceptively difficult to dodge, especially if you're trying to go underneath them. There are some very, very thin points, thin prongs sort of, that stick out the bottom that can cause some severe complications. But then once you do get to this point, your biggest obstacle are 2 large catwalks across the middle of your path, and usually quite easy to avoid, unless of course you are a commentator. Now we have Cyrez coming through to the end of their second lap, and they're going to do 1 minute 53 seconds and 50 milliseconds. Let's pop on up to see who is going to come through in second. VG-Vert taking over from Ninjetti, and then Ninjetti is going to be coming through in third place with Ninjetti is now ahead of VG-Vert again, and VG-Vert just trading back and forth with Ninjetti. They are just exchanging that first and second position. Definitely having sort of a conflict here for number 1 and number 2. Looks like right now we have Ninjetti falling back into third position, attempting to catch up and surpass the place of VG-Vert. You can see just flying right ahead of them. There is a pretty, it's sort of like bees buzzing around through the middle of your view in front of you a little ways. These other racers flying out and in front of you. Let's take a look back at Cyrez's perspective as they come through towards ring number 12. They are halfway through this race, this final lap rather, and they are getting up towards the final stretch here after that tall spiraling structure. Here we go. We do have the prospector of Sigelian coming up here and settling down just above the finish line, so we can get a nice beautiful view of that final tall spire. And we'll probably check back in on there in a moment as Cyrez comes around into the beginning of the large spiraling structure again. Checkpoint number 19 for them. They are coming extremely close to the end. And let's take a look over here. Ninjetti is also getting pretty close to the spiral, but not quite there yet. Or actually, yep, just getting into it now, that is. And they are trying to catch up. Ooh, actually, they're making some pretty good time. Who is that? Cyrez just committed suicide. Looks like Cyrez may have actually just crashed into one of those buildings, and they actually lost some time there, quite a bit of time. We do have Ninjetti coming through and possibly coming through into first place. Let's take a look at these scores. Here we go. That is Ninjetti coming through because we're on a slight bit of a delay. Ooh, VG Vert coming through in first, Ninjetti in second, Cyrez in third. We have VG Vert with 5 minutes, 48 seconds, really pulling ahead in those last couple of seconds, really effectively catching up. That was not necessarily an expected conclusion with Cyrez in such a position of dominance. Here we do have Legim coming through at the end as well. Slowly it feels, but really just so fast, pulling their way up and through that finish line. And the final numbers that we have are going to be coming up here very, very shortly. We have VG Vert with 5 minutes, 48 milliseconds. Ninjetti with 5:52. Cyrez, that crash really costing them a lot. Yes, 1 minute, 50 seconds lap is going to be extremely challenging to beat. That is a very, very impressive time that was made up by VG Vert. Let's take a look over here at Cyrez's view. Yes, we do have Legim there with 6 minutes, 26 seconds. So coming up behind, but not too outstandingly behind. That is a reasonably regular time span. And there is Ninjetti giving us a couple of fun parting explosions and fireworks in the view of Cyrez. And there is the end of the race. As we come to a close with all of these, we are shortly going to be getting into the absolute final. And before we do so, we played it during the pre-show. We're going to play it again right now before we get to the final.
Over 50 years ago, we set out to help Origin Jumpworks go farther. In that time, we learned things. A lot of things. With partners like Origin, we've gone farther than we ever could have imagined. Altama Hydrogen Plus. Where will it take you?
And welcome back, everybody. What an intense game here. We have some information that VG was previously one of the best racers, or the best racer, in Star Citizen in the 2.6 update, and has been a little bit out of the game for a while. But amazing comeback, an amazing race put up from VG there. We do have the starting, so get your guesses or get your predictions entered in chat there. We're going to be seeing this race taking off in just a moment. And there we go. Cyrez taking off and heading through that start line. Ooh, a little slowly, but you know what? That might have worked out for them because there were a little bit of jostling and bumping visions that I feel like I saw. A little bit of a flash of flame past their face. Looks like they are pulling into first place. They were having a little bit of trouble there. There was somebody who pulled ahead of them. Let's get back over to Sigelian's view here. We have Crimson, Freak, now Rudnev, and Cyrez still in first, followed by VG Vert. This is a similar beginning to that previous race, except VG Vert was in third for the very beginning. Let's get back into Cyrez's view of that clear, open track in front of them because, there's no other racers in front of them. They are in first place right now. They are kind of home free for unexpected obstacles. They just have to avoid those normal buildings. Let's get a look over, and it looks like there was a problem for Crimson Freak there. They may have collided with someone at the beginning, lost a wing. VG Vert, Zyrez, and Cat 740. Back to Zyrez, back to VG Vert, and this is the view of VG Vert here in second place, pushing and trying to catch up. There we go. We did see just the slightest glimpse of Zyrez there in front of them, off in the distance. Here's Crimson Freak, and it looks like they did run into some pretty significant challenges there. They're a little far behind where they probably would like to be. Rudnev just spinning out of control and making our camera do crazy, wild, funky things. Ninjetti right here getting into that spiral, but we did see the iris right at the top of the tower open, so we're going to pop back over towards, yes, we're going to take a look here at Zyrez. They are starting to come down into the home stretch, this last final long straightaway heading into the start line, and it looks like their time is going to be 1 minute, 54 seconds, and 75 milliseconds. Pretty good time, but if we do have high times from people, ooh, and it looks like Cat 740 ran into some problem, crashed into a building, I imagine. But if we do have very high times from VG Vert, like we saw last time, that 1 minute 50-second lap really did give them huge benefits in the past. Let's take a look at all those times. Zyrez in the first, followed by Ninjetti, it looks like, and then VG Vert, I believe, was coming up in third, though we may be seeing those points again one more time. Looks like there may have been a crash there for VG Vert, as we did lose contact with their ship for a while, and hopefully that was not a crash, because that could really harm their times moving into the future, especially if the other racers are a little bit more careful and a little bit more able to stay alive throughout the whole race. Coming back out into third perspective, we are going to be looking at Rudnev here, who is in a place, but we don't actually know where they are, so hopefully we'll be able to get those placements up in just a couple of seconds. We'll show you a view of both camera angles. We do have, actually let's zoom in here. We've lost our HUD over on the top view, so we'll just leave it as it is right now because we're not actually sure the name of that individual. But there we go. We do have Zyrez in first place, Ninjetti bringing up second, Rudnev now moving up into third place, VG Vert fourth place, Cat 740, and Crimson Freak bringing up the fifth and sixth places. Here we go. We do have Zyrez heading into that spire at the end of this second lap. And coming down into just about into those last two home straight stretches. Crimson Freak unfortunately running into more challenges. This is the problem. Once you start to fall back in the race, you start to get a little bit more risky. You start to push your ship a little bit harder than you necessarily should to try to make up those few seconds. Sometimes it doesn't pay off. So hopefully Crimson Freak can hold it together to maybe make up some more time, but they are looking to be falling back quite some ways. Here we have an individual coming across that start line, and we will be seeing the scores relatively soon to find out who that individual is. So once again, we will look at both the Zyrez view and the nameless view up above as we try to determine who it is that we're looking at. Here we go. We do have Zyrez coming through into the ninth iris of this race. And there we go. We do have Zyrez followed by Ninjetti, followed by Rudnev, Vert, Cat 740, and Crimson Freak. We have not had any changes to placements so far, so Zyrez is still taking that commanding sort of a lead, coming into that long downward traveling sort of bend in the track. Now this is something interesting to talk about too. We do have that new flight system where the engines are more vulnerable to heat at this point. Flight systems overheating can cause real problems to our racers, as their engines can actually stop working at their peak performance if they are overheating for a while, which can cause some pretty significant problems. Honestly, in some cases, probably more significant than crashing, depending on the type of crash it is that you have. So the pilots definitely have to be super careful. Ooh, and we have a real close race for third, fourth, second, third, and fourth place, they are all right next to each other, but we will watch Cyrez come through to the end of this race, looking like they are going to be finishing in first place with a time total of 1 minute 54, time total 5 minutes 44 seconds. Let's take a look over at... there we go, Cyrez. Beautiful explosion. Let's take a look. There we go. We have Rednev and VG Vert finishing milliseconds apart, less than 50 milliseconds between them, 5:52.01 and 5:52.47. Ninjetti coming in fourth place with 5:59.11, and that is going to bring Cat into the end with 6:06. Let's get the placement numbers here. We have Cyrez in first with 5:44, Rednev in second with 5:52.01, VG Vert in third with 5:52.47. Crimson Freak still coming along, still pushing towards the end of this race. I wonder if they're going to be able to get it done. We might be able to see their perspective in just a couple of seconds here, but maybe they won't be able to make it through to the end either. But we will find out. There we go. We have the view of Crimson Freak here, and they are coming pretty far from the end. We're not sure that they're definitely going to be able to make it through there. What an amazing race. That second and third position were so close to one another in the background. You could see a couple of moments where there were three ships, those red triangles, all within maybe even meters of one another. Very, very close together. Very skillful racing. But congratulations to Cyrez with that 1 minute 54 second lap time. That's quite impressive. Still, VG Vert, 1 minute 53 seconds. Quite a fast lap time. And if they continue practicing and continue making those times, it will be very difficult to challenge VG Vert moving on into the future. We do have Cyrez. Let's pull you on down into the interviews channel. Hello, Cyrez. Hold on a second. Could I just get you to say a couple of things and we'll make sure that your audio is coming through?
Hello.
Wonderful, thank you. It looks like it is. I'm doing very, very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Nice. Well, I'm also doing very well.
Getting everything ready. So, well done, Cyrez. That was a very impressive race from you. As you can see, you have some fans in chat here. Crimson Freak saying good game to you, and some people saying congratulations and good game to you as well. Yeah, certainly. That was a very exciting race to watch. How did you feel as you were going through the track?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty, how should I say, so it's more intense currently than it was before. There are people now which are faster. Then there's W.T. I don't know how to pronounce his name. There is Ratnev, who became pretty fast.
Yeah.
It's not like that you have just 2 or 3 racers which are capable to win currently. So I was pretty nervous the whole time because I knew there were at least 4 or 5 people who could easily beat me if I do a mistake. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I can understand how that would be. Are you changing your strategies in racing at all in response to there being more people who are traveling faster on the tracks?
No, not really. I'm always using the same strategy. If you are in a final, you may try to fly more safe, so that you maybe be a bit slower but not crash, but it depends on if someone is in front of you or not. If you know that there is a bit of space, then you are trying to fly safe, because everyone's nervous in such a final, and being nervous means they do mistakes. So if you are in front and you have a small gap, you can chill a bit, you can be a bit slower, you can be a bit safer, and maybe the people behind you who have to push still make mistakes, so you have like an easy win. But if someone is in front of you, you have to push yourself into limits because you want to get on him. And that's something which is much more dangerous and much more intense still, as if you're leading.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we did see that a little bit, especially in that last race there. We had some people starting to get some crashes in at the end of the race because probably they were just pushing to try to make up some time. A different sort of question. Looking at some of the times that appeared, we have some very, very, very fast lap times that are going on today. Do you feel like it's more worth it for newer racers to push for the fastest time that they can get? Or do you think it's better for newer racers to push for a smooth lap first?
That's a hard question. It depends on the people. There are people who can be really better if they have to push themselves, if there is some pressure on them. And there are people who get nervous. It depends on. So if you are the guy who gets nervous, it's better to chill out a bit and to try to fly safe somehow. You always have to be fast, sure, but if you're always pushing the limit and you are pretty new, you will crash too much, really too much, and that's not a good thing. So it's you have to find the sweet spot for yourself. So because it's different for everyone.
All right, that's good. That's good news for all of our racers. That it's sort of like, figure out what works for you, right?
Yeah, it's some you can always say that it doesn't help anyone, but it's what it is. Yeah, people are different, and people react different on pressure, and that's what happens in such a tournament.
Absolutely. Well, Cyrez, next sort of thing to talk about is CitizenCon. We do have that coming up soon. Is there anything special that you're hoping for or waiting for out of CitizenCon this year?
Not sure if I'm hoping for something. There were some leaks and stuff, but I don't want to talk here about leaks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, if they will become true, it would be great, but I don't know. I don't think there will be something about racing, which is sad, but yeah, we all know it's not the focus. So I'm totally open, and I will enjoy what comes, whatever it is.
Excellent, and I think that's the best way to think about it. Just be excited for whatever's coming. I'm sure it's going to be good stuff. Is there any last words that you would like to finish with your fans with?
Yeah, thanks for supporting. Thanks for being here. It's always nice to have people here in chat talking and yeah, making the community more active. And I also have to say thanks to the racers. Really, it gets more and more intense with every tournament, and that's something which makes a lot of fun to me and also to the viewers, I guess. So keep up. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Cyrez. And again, congratulations. Very, very good show out there. I certainly super enjoyed watching you race today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
All right, have a good one.
Goodbye.
Hey there. If you enjoyed that and you feel like you still need some adrenaline in your system, feel free to check us out over there at our Twitch, our Twitter, our YouTube, and on our website. Enjoy the races.